What's up, folks? It is January 3rd, 2021, Sunday, and this is Empty with K. Raz. I know a lot of people are headed to their worship services and their spiritual place, but I'll be there when they get done. This show is brought to you by Midtown ABC, opening soon in Lake Carolina and Solar Station. It is the spirit of Midtown. Of course, as always, I do not own the rights to the music that you hear in the background. I just love that music. Interesting fact of today, Washington, D.C. was not always the capital of the United States. Crazy thing, many recognize Washington, D.C. as the capital of the U.S., but it wasn't always the case. Washington didn't become the capital until 1790. Believe it or not, from 1785 until 1790, New York City served as the country's capital. While it might not be the capital today, we all know over 8 million people reside in New York City, making it the most populous city in America. Theme for today: is there a such thing as soulmates? Okay. Let's look at it this way. I'm not sure. I think that we can make a situation into what we want it to be, but is it someone specifically designated in this world for us? You know, because we always talk about how many fish there are in the sea, and, you know, this person's not the only one, and so forth and so on. So, I don't know. So for me, it's been difficult for me to recognize anybody as a quote-unquote soulmate, because I've been my own problem. I've been difficult to get out of my own way. I have a lot of hang-ups, a lot of trauma that I've had to work through, trauma that I tried to bury and live around it. And you have to deal with trauma, you know, head on. And I never did that. So soulmate, I guess I never really thought about that because I wasn't always happy with myself. So if you're not happy with yourself, you can't see a soulmate. It's hard to see a positive day, let alone a soulmate. So how do we determine if someone is actually a soulmate? Like, what does that mean? How does that feel? That's interesting. I think the truth for me is I couldn't live a true life because of trust issues that I developed, you know, when I was a kid, which truthfully is when a lot of my problems started, being taken advantage of by older girls and things like that. And so for women, there became an automatic brick wall. As a boy, you know, it's not as easy in the neighborhood I grew up in to go to somebody or to my dad or anyone else and say, well, these girls took advantage of me. Now, back when I grew up, it was, you know, what boys tried to do, even though it was forced upon me. But the problem that happened with all of that is the trust issues with women. Never trusted women after that. I'm not sure how I lived a whole life like that, But a lot of times I didn't have to deal with women except for intimate situations or short-term relationships, things that I knew I wasn't going to be involved in for a very long time. So I never got help for a lot of things because, as men, we think we can suppress things and still matriculate through life without issue. We think that things just go away without us putting it away. And it just compounded. The problem just grew. So, yeah, I left a lot of carnage in my wake because I could never successfully matriculate from one person to another or to find the quote-unquote soulmate. It's hard to see something through a wall. We can imagine stuff. We can think what quite possibly could be on the other side. But if our view is obstructed, we can't fully say that's what I want, or that's how I feel, or that's, oh, okay, I like the way that looks. We have to somehow find a way to pull the wall down to be able to give a full assessment and see if that's what we want. For me, I never took that wall down. That wall stayed in place. That wall really was like my protection. So soulmate, what exactly does that look like? Is that a person who thinks like you do? Do you both love the same food? Have the same taste in movies and music? Cars, houses, clothes? Soulmate, what exactly does that mean? And I've heard all of they complete you and that type of thing. Complete you. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that would have been possible for me, because I didn't truly know me for the longest time, dealing with the different traumas that I had. It took me a long time, and it took a lot of failed relationships and people who were quote unquote supposed to be friends until, again, and I am a huge advocate for this, for therapy, for us in our community. That's kind of a taboo thing, but it needs to be our reality because it helps us get to the bottom of different traumas that we suppress and think that it's just over. For me now, clearing my head, emptying out my closet of all of the terrible things that I felt that I've done. Now it's easier for me to see clear being with someone. But soulmate, I'm struggling with that one. I'm really struggling with that one. I know, we read spiritually about someone being your rib and that type of thing. I think we take things very literal in every sense of the word. I don't know that that's necessarily. I'm studying on that. I don't want to say I don't believe it. I just need to study it. I need for the research to check that box for me. But soulmate, what do you guys think of soulmate? That's very interesting. Is that a person who you can always trust, who will always be trustworthy, who will not backbite? That person who will understand you in vulnerable moments. Is that soulmate? Or is that a considerate mate? Someone who cares. Maybe it's more of a title that people put on it rather than something that is extreme, that is an extreme truth of soulmate. Soulmate. That is just so deep. That's very interesting to me. Right now, I believe that it means what I was just explaining as far as someone who grows to care, grows to nurture, grows to love, grows to protect, grows to honor. I think soulmate is something that has to evolve over time. I know our relationships with people has to evolve and grow over time. Soulmate. Again, I don't want to say that it's not true. I just would like more evidence of soulmate. I would just like to see it in action. And that's not necessarily people who've been married a long time or been together for a long time either. People become comfortable and resistant to change, and they just stay where they are. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a successful relationship. You just like I probably know folks who've been together 30, 40 years, and they live in separate rooms. And I've got everything from they get on my nerves to it's just cheaper to keep her. I don't like to move. I don't want nothing else. He pays the bills. I know who she is. Is that soulmate? Just because they was together 30, 40, 50 years? It's comfortable. And again, I don't want to judge anybody. Who am I to judge? Please, I have been the most unsuccessful relationship guy there is. I think that I'm a good person now. But relationship-wise, I was basing it on the wrong things. So, at 50, I had to start over. How I see women, how I see relationships and things of that nature. So it's kind of been fun. So I'm embracing it. But soulmates, think on that, guys. Let's continue to unwrap that one. Soulmates. Inspiring quote: life is a question, and how we live it is our answer. So, preview of the next show. What is your level of transparency? I'm hoping to do this show live. I got some interest in folks wanting to do it and be in the chat and give their opinions. And so we may do that, but the bulk of the show will be recorded just because of my time constraints. I am an educator and love the kids. So that may be one thing that we look forward to. But we'll be back tomorrow, taking another didactic look at living life on empty or until empty. This is your guy, K. Raz. I'll see you on the other side.